Hi, this is Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about world news. And world news is a news show on YouTube under the ETC Show channel, right? So these guys are really interesting. I think they're a little older than millennials. They're about 30, 35 years old. Two Caucasian guys, one's tall, one's short. And really, really interesting in that I've started to watch them as a news source. And and it's really interesting. So as like an international news source, you know, and they're reporting on actual news. So the thing that's strange here is these guys have a YouTube channel and they stand in front of a camera and they just talk. Right? And that's it. That's the whole show, right? Now, it's similar to what was always done with traditional news sources, where you would have an anchor man and he would talk and tell you about the news, right? Well, these two guys, they started in video game news, right? And they swear, they use the S word, they use, the F word, the whole nine, right? But they're very frank. They cut right to the chase. They add some humor, right, into what they're saying, and they are becoming a major news channel. And I am starting to watch them more and more because one, they're covering major events. Two, they don't mess around. They're like, here's the news, and here's a quippy comment on it, right? And and because they can just throw up a camera and talk immediately, they're fairly current, right? Which is a big deal. So the thing is, it's just like basically these two guys, they were doing video game content. They got very good at it, right? They're getting a lot of views, and then they started, commenting on politics or whatever, and people watched their content that wasn't video game news, and they kept doing this. And then I think there was a point where they looked at each other and, like, the one dude was like, oh my gosh, you're Tom Brokaw. And the other guy was like, oh my gosh, you're Dan Rather. So, like, to me, now they're college educated, clearly. But to me, two guys who really, don't have the entire backing of a studio. And they don't have makeup. And they don't have, all these traditional accoutrements that you would get with a real news channel are becoming major international news sources. And I think it shocked them, and it is certainly shocking me. And it just made me think, why are these two YouTubers becoming like the new newscasters, right? And the reason, by the way, they wear t-shirts, they wear hats, just totally casual, really come at it from a kind of a bro stance, like, I don't think it's real. It's somewhat male-centric in that they're kind of just like they're talking to a dude, like it's the kind of it's the kind of talk, the kind of conversation you would have with a guy if if you were after you saw a movie, or something, just like it's real kind of bro talk, and it's just shocking, like, because when you hear these guys, it's like, it reminds me a lot of college, like when you got done with your meal at the cafeteria and you were just talking for 20 minutes outside of the cafeteria, with one of your dude friends, and you just, talk, and very, very casual, very conversational, and they've brought that style to talking about terrorist attacks and, like, just real news, right? And so one of the things I'm realizing is it's not that these guys are good. These guys are good. They're talented, right? They have talent. But it's not because they're great talents or they know a lot about news. It's because people who went to journalism school, people who went through the normal criteria of being cast and being paid $1 million by a news organization, and having a green screen, and having a set, and having a $10,000 camera, all these kind of things, they threw it away. They just flushed it down the toilet, right? They had millions of viewers, and those viewers are like, give me the news. and they brought a crazy liberal slant, right? I feel they're prejudiced. They lied. Like essentially, these new guys have become the new Tom Brokaw, the new Dan Rather, because the real news outlets just took the attention and took the eyeballs and took the trust that had been given them and just threw it away. Just threw it away, right? And that's the key. And I think nowadays, it's interesting to understand, like, the traditional structures, you have a chance to disrupt them, not because the service you're bringing is great, but because it's okay, and the actual services you've been paying for, the actual services you've been giving deference to, the actual service you're giving your trust to, are terrible, and they've been abused, right? And so that's the issue, is, just company after company, I think on the media side, just did a really bad job, right? The other thing is, and so these YouTube guys, I wish they didn't curse. I could definitely use without the cursing, but I like their jovial attitude. I like their fast pace. I like their currency. World News, ETC show, really fascinating guys. I think they saw a gaping hole in news coverage where, people just want current news delivered in a way that is trying to get to the core of the facts, and and is presented in a way that you feel like you can trust. That's another thing, because I feel like I can trust these guys. It doesn't seem like they care that much about, being paid off by, since they're on a YouTube channel, I'm not sure they have real sponsors. So YouTube serves up ads on their content, and they get ads from YouTube. So they're certainly ad generated. But in my opinion, as I watch their content, their content seems much divorced from them kind of kowtowing to their patrons, right? And so really fascinating guys, and really like disruptive, like this, if you're NBC or MSNBC, and I have to admit, I can't even remember the last time I watched the 11 o'clock news. It's been 10 years at least. And so it's really interesting to just see that, two video game commentators have become the new Tom Brokaw, the new Dan Rather, and then, and it's almost like you could just see there was like a point where these two dudes looked at it and go, oh my gosh, we're newscasters for realsies. It's just kind of fun to see that, and it's kind of, fun to see them growing their channel, and to see, two guys just kind of entrepreneurs seeing an opportunity, shooting the gap, and then running with that opportunity. Very, very interesting.